It's not hard. It's not costing you anything to get pre-approved. Sometimes that's just the easiest next first step is just get 2 years of financials together, just email them to me. I can send you a secure link. We can get those emailed over. You can fill out the application and a personal financial statement. And we don't even have to look at the liquidity statement yet, just make it as easy as possible.
Yeah.
It gives you that next first step, because once you take that next first step, then the reality starts kicking in of actually following through and buying land.
Welcome back to the Land Podcast. This week, we have an in-person episode with Buckland Funding. They're a proud partner here of the Land Podcast. And if you're someone that is looking to buy a piece of ground and you're going to use financing, having a good lender is by far one of the most important things in the entire process. If you haven't called a bank before, or even if you have, we walk through the entire process, some common mistakes, misconceptions, and a really helpful conversation, I feel, with the folks at Buckland Funding. When you call them, you're going to talk to Sean, you're going to work with Megan, and you're going to work with Jamie in some capacity. And so you get to hear from the voices you'll talk to over the phone whenever you call Buckland Funding to get pre-qualified. If rates do drop and you want to refinance, then give them a shout too. So want to say thank you for them for making the trip up here. Really quick, as you know, the Land Podcast is brought to you by Onyx, and we're doing a season kickoff event, and it's going to be from 6 to 9 p.m. on September 5th in Henry, Illinois. I'll put all the details in the description below, but it's a pretty laid-back event, and we're going to have some giveaways, and it's going to be a pretty good time. And if you're in the area, I encourage you to come out. We'd love to see you. And we have a limited spacing, so if you haven't RSVP'd on Facebook, I would suggest to get there at 6 or maybe a touch early, because once we hit the max capacity, we hit the max capacity. It's not a huge event center, but regardless, I think we'll have plenty of room for everyone. So I hope you guys make it out there and watch the season premiere of Whitetail Cribs. We're going to have a little projector. Then we're going to have some fun little events and some giveaways. So that is it. I hope you guys enjoy this episode with Buckland Funding. Here we go. So we are in Manier Seeds headquarters, and I have some special guests. I appreciate you guys coming up here. I've known Sean for a long time. I've got to know all of you guys here over a couple lunches, and I appreciate you guys coming here. We have Buckland Funding, and if anyone has any lending questions, my goal of this episode is to basically help people come up with the questions they need to ask when they call you guys or any lender. I think there's a level of nervousness when it comes to I think I want to buy a farm, but I'm too scared to call the bank because I don't want to get told no. So we're going to get into all of that, but quickly introduce each of, we have Sean, Megan, and Jamie. If you want to give just a little bit of who you are real quick, and then we'll dive into everything.
Sure. Sean Ryan, reside in Davenport, Iowa. My background just a little bit is before my career with Buckland Funding, I was a sales rep in the outdoor archery industry. I worked for Outtech and Summit Sales, and we had multiple lines called on anybody that had anything to do with archery. And so we had some of our big lines were Hoyt, Easton, Delta McKenzie, NAP, True Ball, True Glow. So I traveled the road for Nebraska, Iowa, and Illinois for 25 years, and was fortunate enough to get a phone call from a good buddy of mine, a PSC rep, and he recommended that Buckland Funding was hiring a relationship manager, and I'd stepped away from the road and lucky enough to be here now. In November it'll be 5 years.
Yeah.
And I love it every day.
Yeah. And if Sean sounds familiar, it's because you have been on the show here. It was probably 3 years ago, maybe.
I think so.
2.5, 3 years. Time goes so fast now.
Very first one ever. Yes. As a matter of fact.
Yeah.
Yes.
So anyone that's been around for long enough, they probably recognize Sean's voice. And so, I think your career has been pretty interesting. And it's funny when we talk sometimes, like, oh, what archery shop do you go to? And I know why you do that, because you've probably been there before.
I've been there, probably know the owners or the past owners.
Yep.
And that's what I tell everybody too, is they always ask, well, do you miss that, career? Do you miss that? And, I don't miss the travel on the road nonstop, but I miss the people. Just such good people. And the relationships that I formed over 25 years, just priceless. Yeah. So, but no, very, very blessed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Megan, we had lunch, and you're like a real estate shark on top of what you do for your line of work. So who are you and where are you from?
Yeah, so I'm from Bushnell, Illinois, and but I'm based out of Macomb, Illinois for our Buckland Funding. And but yes, when I was 17, I started buying real estate. So I've got about 14 rental properties now. So I
So cool.
I enjoy doing that. My husband has a landscaping company, Midwest Lawns, here in Bushnell, and yeah, we got 4 kids. So we've had to build that up year over year, slowly but surely. And then I've been with the bank for 12 years. So First Bankers Trust, and then Buckland Funding is the division of First Bankers. So I've been with Buckland Funding for probably 4 years now, I would say, maybe 3 years, give or take.
And what's your role at Buckland Funding?
Yeah, so I am a lender here, and pretty much help anyone that needs to buy land. So I pretty much go through the numbers with them and make sure that we get it figured out and get a pre-approval figured out, so that way that you can buy land quickly. Because I know some people that have lost some deals. You try to go and make an offer, but you're like, you're scrambling at the last second, and it's a weekend and you went and saw some ground and you don't have a pre-approval in hand. You start feeling that stress, because once you find that right property, I know how it feels when I have my own, rental properties. When I find a property and it's the right one, you get that feeling inside and you're like, okay, you feel that sense of urgency. And so a lot of these guys with land, it's really good to have that pre-approval in your hand before you go out there and make an offer, so you can make one quickly. So
yeah. And I definitely want to dive into the pre-approval process and what you guys need. And then Jamie, tell us who you are and what you do, and aside from being a cattle farmer.
Yeah, right. That's just a hobby.
Yeah.
So, Jamie Whitaker. I've been with First Bankers Trust, the bank, going on 15 years. I've been in banking for 25 years. Cut my teeth in the whitetail capital of the world down in Pike County. Pike County, Illinois. That's where I got my start. So, been around rec land lending for quite a long time now. So,
how did you get into lending? Was that sometimes I've noticed like it's like your dad's an attorney and then you become an attorney? Was that did you go up in a banking family?
I promise you, my dad was not in banking. It kind of hit me one day in college. I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life, and everything you do, I don't care what you're in, is sales.
Yeah.
Right. I thought to myself, man, how easy would it be to sell money? Right. So I'm like, I'm gonna go into banking. So, but I did not take the competition into effect when I was figuring that in.
Mm-hmm.
But no, it's been a good career so far.
Yeah, that's really cool. And so I think people probably have a question of, how did Buckland Funding get started, and how did that come to fruition, and what's the mission behind it?
So Alan Schaefer, our president, CEO of First Bankers, he's an avid whitetail hunter as well, and outdoorsman. He just bought some property in Missouri, and I can remember to this day him coming to my office. Why aren't we focusing on this? Right? Focus on guys that have some wherewithal and love outdoor hunting, and just promote that. I'm like, that's a pretty good idea, I think. And I had some contacts, obviously, in my past, and reached out to them, be like, "Hey, we're thinking about this," and they're like, "No, we think that'd be great." So then that's when we brought Sean on board, and obviously then Megan's full focus on this now. So yeah.
Was the thought process of, rec ground? I've done a bunch of these podcasts, and there, a lot of these folks that have been buying timber ground or rec ground, they're like, it always had been kind of pushed to the side, not really worth anything. Lending terms typically weren't all that favorable, if you could even find a bank to lend on that.
Right.
Was that kind of the thesis of this? Like, hey, these people kind of been maybe pushed to the side, or is that not accurate?
I would say we thought at first that we could really standardize the underwriting process for it, right? Meaning kind of underwrites like a car loan a little bit, to be perfectly honest. It's credit score, it's cash flow, right? And it's loan to value. And it just so happens to be in a very precious commodity. Your collateral's land, right?
Yeah.
And what have we seen land do over the last 25 years? There might have been some some blips on the radar where maybe it has gone down, but it hasn't ever gone down that much. And it continues to be a pretty good investment.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Who typically calls you guys the most, as far as people that are just starting? Who I'm trying to picture, like your ideal, like your current customer, of someone that says, hey, I found you guys and I want to buy a farm. I think a lot of times people think that there's only a special type of person that can buy a farm to hunt on. And so the root of this question is like, who's calling you guys right now?
99.9%, outdoorsmen, people that love the outdoors. Now, that doesn't mean that they're hunters. I mean, I think we've done a few loans to some horse people, that want to have horse trails through their timber, what have you. But again, it's people that just have a love of the outdoors. And it's just like you said at the very, very beginning. I think a lot of people are kind of nervous, intimidated just a little bit to call. And we at Buckland Funding, our team, we try to take that away. We try to just make it an enjoyable experience. And that's one of our main key focuses is when they deal with myself and with Megan, is that it is an enjoyable process. But again, it's the outdoor people, the hunters of the world, and they just need to understand. All you have to do is call and talk to us, and we just go from there on the pre-approval process, and it's simple and easy.
Yeah.
Well, let's dive into the pre-approval process.
And I might add, I'd say we see about 50-50. So about half the guys have their mind made up. They've got a purchase contract in hand. And then you got about the other half are just in the inquiring phase. Like they're still looking for the ground and they just want to know, like, what can I get a pre-approved up to? And so that's kind of the ratio I normally see.
Yes. A lot of people call and say, oh, I'd just like to get pre-approved and have that letter. And we ask, well, do you have a farm that you've been thinking about? How much is it? No, I just kind of want to see what, I could get pre-approved for. And that's fine. And we like that also because we can see, and once they get the financials and spread, because I do have to digress a second. I'm not a banker. So
no, he's not.
I am not a banker. So, and I'll just jump right there real quick. So how the process does work is, just like you, Land Pros, when you recommend someone for Buckland Funding and give them our number, it's my number, and basically they call, and I could just get a little information about them and get a little information about the farm, acreage, improvements, things like that, where it's at, what county, price, and then I send that down to Megan, and then Megan asks for their financials, sends out an application. And then once that is back and returned to her, then she can do the financials and say, hey, you're approved for X, Y, and Z.
What financials? 2 years of tax returns and a personal financial statement?
Yeah, our standard is 2 years tax returns for Buckland Funding and then a personal financial statement. That's typically all we really need to get things going. Sometimes we like to see a liquidity statement, which shows that you have proof of cash down. It really helps. It ensures that that broker is not wasting their time and you do have a cash down payment ready to go. So sometimes I do have to ask for that, but largely it's the 2 tax returns and the personal financial statement.
What about, and this, I've been self-employed. So the first time I bought my house, I had a different lender and I had 1099s and then I went to K1s. So for someone that's self-employed, is it, what history do they have? Or maybe they just got a new job 2 years ago or 1 year ago? Like, what are some of those nuanced things? I know they're probably case by case, but if there's just a rule of thumb for someone that's listening, like, man, I switched my job and I do want to buy a farm, is that going to be an issue?
Yeah, so a lot of times I'll look at the history, and the history tells me a lot. And in those cases, sometimes I might ask you for another year back so I can see that stable growth. Like, so maybe it'll be a 3-year tax return situation, but maybe 1 year you really just didn't have a good year, but you're projected on your, let's say your 2025 year currently. I could say, well, let me see some W-2s. Let me see what your income's at and what you're projected to be. And we can do like a forward look as well. And we can factor that into like a projected value. So it's like I said, it's not a black and white. We're not going to kick someone out if just 1 year looks a little rough just because there was one blip in it. As long as we can see some stability in the past and we can see some good looking forward-looking financials, then we're fine. So not a problem at all. So
how long does it typically take to get a pre-approval letter? Because man, when the farm comes up that you're like, oh no, I found it. I'm not ready. I haven't called the bank. I'm calling Sean right now. I'm going to be prompt and get you the information you need very quickly in order to make a decision or give me a pre-approval letter. How long does that typically take?
I would say it takes 24 hours. I mean, I can't promise it every time will be
Sure.
24. I would say 48 is maximum, but
Mhm.
I do my biggest effort to make 24 hours
Yeah,
happen.
that's really good.
Yeah.
Really-
So as long as
that's
I have
impressive.
everything I need from them, when it's two years of tax returns and a personal financial statement, and I'm able to pull credit, they're okay with me pulling credit, I can tell them within 24 hours. So, and sometimes I know some people do have, there's a lot of people that have issue with getting their credit pulled right away.
Yeah.
And so sometimes I just say, well, get your financials in the door. Let me just take a look at them and let you know, and just say, hey, look, you look like a soft approval, pre-approval.
Mhm.
Are you okay with me pulling financials? And sometimes they like to wait a couple more weeks until they go look at the land, but
Mhm.
it's not hard at all for us to kind of get that done quickly. So
That's a big deal.
It's a real big deal. And
Yeah.
you know, every broker and agent that I
Mhm.
talk to that's out there, I always say, well, what do you like to see in a buyer coming?
Mhm.
If they're pre-approved. Yes.
Absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the
You don't want
biggest
to
thing.
waste your time, right?
Yeah.
If they don't, I mean, to
Yeah.
a degree.
Yeah.
I mean, your time's valuable. So, and that's how we approach. I mean, that's how we approach it.
Mhm.
Is broker's time is valuable, right? And you're referring one of your customers to
Mhm.
us. We got to make sure we get back quick.
Yeah.
It takes a team.
It
It
does.
does.
Yeah.
And these two are the best.
Yeah.
Well, and
Yeah.
and we only pull, and just because I know a lot of your viewers are probably thinking, oh, because that's what holds people back. Is like, I don't want my credit pulled, and
Yeah.
and like they don't feel 100% committed to it yet. And it's like, we only pull from TransUnion Credit. We don't pull from all three bureaus. And so, and that really helps knowing that, hey, look, it's not hard. It's not costing you anything to get pre-approved. It's just, sometimes that's just the easiest
Mhm.
next first step. It's just get 2 years of financials together. Just email them to me. I can send you a secure link. We can get those emailed over. You can fill out the application and a personal financial statement. And we don't even have to look at the liquidity statement yet.
Mhm.
You know, just make it as easy as possible.
Yeah.
It gets you that next first step, because once you take that next first step, then the reality starts kicking in of actually following through and buying land. So
Yeah. Yeah. I've always
Yeah.
said that the most important part of
Yeah.
buying ground is partnering with a good bank and
Yeah.
figuring out your finances, because then you kind of, I mean, you can have a discussion. Hey, this is kind of what I'm comfortable with the payment. What's my debt to income look like? I mean, what are you guys, what is your guys' kind of debt to income threshold?
41%.
41?
Yep. We
Okay.
like to be at 41. Now,
Or less.
Or
Yeah.
yeah,
Or
or
less.
less. Yes, or less. Now that's not a
Says
hard.
the
Now for
president.
some of your business people out there,
Yeah.
not all business people are going to have 41% debt to income. That's a given. A lot of everyone's financials are different, so
Mhm.
sometimes we do have to look at debt coverage ratio, and so we take that into effect too. So, and if you do have a business, usually we just ask for personal tax returns. But if a large portion of your income comes from your business,
Mhm.
then we usually like to see your business tax returns too,
Sure.
because it really helps us assess the health of that business in order to understand the full picture, to
Gives
feel
us a-
comfortable approving you. you know?
Gives us a good global picture of that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. For sure.
Well, I mean, self-employment tax is expensive too. So
Yeah, it can
be,
So
right?
I know some people's
Yeah.
not-
Yeah.
people maybe structure things a little
Yeah.
bit differently to
Yeah.
to strategize there. I'm not a
Yeah.
CPA, so
Yeah.
but I think it'd be helpful for people to know what states are you guys chartered in, to where if I'm in Nebraska or Iowa or Illinois, like where can you guys lend money?
So I would we're a national, but I mean,
Mhm.
First Bankers is a national bank. We're headquartered out of Quincy, Illinois. I mean, that's our home base.
Mhm.
I would say when we initially started this, I mean, Iowa, Missouri, Illinois that's where we wanted to be.
Yep.
Construction.
So yeah, since then we've done deals in Colorado, we've done deals in Kansas, we've done deals in
Tennessee, doing
done
one
de-
in Mississippi.
in Mississippi, we're
Yep.
going to another one in New Mexico. So I mean, we're starting to branch out a little bit. I would
Mhm.
say probably for us, I mean, it's the people that are involved with it that
Mhm.
we're got comfortable with, and that's
So if someone's from Pennsylvania right now listening, they can give you a call.
Yes,
Mhm.
I've dealt with somebody from
Absolutely.
Alaska. So, yep.
Whoa!
Yeah,
Yes.
it's
We
not
have.
a problem. Yes, yep.
We
Back
have.
when I first started, yep. But
Yep.
How do they find you?
I don't know, but it was back when rates were 2.75,
Yeah.
you know, so.
It's probably a podcast.
Probably.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
It would
Yeah.
surprise me.
Yeah. Yep. So I've dealt with guys all over, and yeah, it makes it really easy. The
Mhm.
process, and I mean, we deal with remote closings, so it's not
like
hard. UPS. Oftentimes, I'll just email someone. They print one-sided, sign away in front of a notary, and UPS it back with our label and back to the title company, and that's your closing. It's super easy. I make it really easy, so it's not hard at all. And that's my job. It's like I make it so easy for somebody, especially for somebody that's brand new at this, never done this before. I can answer any questions they have. I coach them through it. I mean, a broker can help them as well, sure, but I'm that next person as well. Like I can answer pretty much anything, title company questions, everything.
And to go along those lines, also that when talking with our customers, our past customers, and our future customers, we keep the loan in house, unlike a mortgage. That most banks would sell off. For Buckland Funding, we keep those loans in house, and so you deal with two people, myself or Megan. And normally everybody likes dealing with Megan. So.
Well, I do the numbers side of it, so I guess that's probably why. But no, but so pretty much a lot of times I'm texting customers, like I give them my cell phone number. So it's very personable. I'm very accessible, I would say, which is a huge benefit. And if you get on our Buckland Funding Facebook page, I mean, it'll tell you it all, like with our reviews, just going through that. It tells you how much effort.
You guys care.
Yeah, we do care.
Really do.
Like I really do care. Like we've had that discussion over lunch when we were talking with you. And I really do put all my effort into this, and so I truly do care. I want to make someone's process super easy, and I'm a perfectionist, so I take a lot of the weight on myself and I make it as easy as possible for them. So
If you want to know where property boundaries are for public or private, you want to develop a great plan for your farm, document perfect access to a blind, to a tree stand, carve out and measure food plots, connect your Moultrie trail cameras to an app that shows exactly where they're at, and you can look at the feed for that specific camera location, then Onyx is something you need to check out. It is the only mapping software I use when it comes to deer hunting. I've tried other pieces of software, different apps, and I always go back to Onyx because I think it is the most comprehensive, easy to use, and robust mapping software there is when it comes to hunting and land ownership. You want to send a pen to a friend, boom, send it to them right to text, opens it up. Maybe you have notes, maybe you have pictures on that pin, transfers all of it. You want to send a whole entire folder of a plan that you mocked up, you can do that on Onyx. So be sure to check out Onyx. They are a huge supporter of the Land Podcast. They allow us to travel around and talk to some folks that can give you really good insight and good information no matter where you're at in your process of buying land. Let's get back to the conversation.
Yeah. I just can't emphasize enough of how important it is to have a good team, because a lot of times, even if it's 10 acres, even if it's 40 acres, whether it's 400 acres, there's induced stress throughout that process. And having, it's like, I've been trying to call my lender and I haven't been able to get hold of them, and they need this, or I need it. This creates a lot of stress and animosity throughout a transaction. And it's supposed to be a good, positive experience because you're celebrating a milestone goal that you've been working on forever. And you want people rooting for you as you cross the finish line.
It needs to be celebratory.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a huge deal.
Yeah.
It's a huge deal.
It is.
And
huge.
I can tell you guys, you agree with that.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, some people that I talk to right leading up to the closing, they just can't believe it's happening and it's real. And you get excited with them, it's fun. And then Sean swoops in at the end there, and he provides some free swag, Buckland Funding hats and stuff, and congratulates them and gets them excited about it. And Sean, he is the most personable person. I have had so many customers just love working with Sean. And well, he knows hunting. He knows hunting up and down. I don't know hunting as well as Sean does, but he knows it. Yeah. So I know the numbers. Sean knows the hunting, and he knows the brokers, and he's good to work with.
It's one of my favorite calls after, the closing has happened. And I'm able to call them, and I'm excited for them. And, they're so excited. And just like anything, you buy a new car, you buy a new fancy truck, you want to tell people, you want to talk about it.
Yeah.
Well, I like to listen about it. And then I always try to hit people.
I was going to ask, how many
stand?
places have you got?
You got an extra stand? Huh? I'm thinking November 3rd through the 7th.
I'm gonna guess you got more no's than yeses on that.
Pretty much. But I tell you what, I'm optimistic. Somebody sometime will say yes.
Oh, that's
gosh.
funny. No, that's really funny. What do you think something that a misconception when it comes to borrowing money for buying land? Is there something that you guys see or hear from a lot of people where, I thought this is how it goes, and you're like, well, actually, no, that's not quite accurate. I mean, is there something that jumps out to any of you guys?
I would say a lot of people think it's going to be like buying a house.
Yeah.
I think people come in there thinking
Mhm.
it's going to be a 30-year fixed rate
Mm.
deal when we really just do 5-year fixed rates or
Mhm.
3-year fixed rates. Right now, the
Mhm.
3-year is better than the 5-year for rate.
Mhm.
And so, but we still amortize it over 20 or 25 years.
Mhm.
And so, but and so it's just they think that there's going to be this really long, extensive process because that's what a home
Yeah.
loan is. It feels like you're going through an audit. They ask you left and right. They have to verify. There's so much regulation, and they have
Mhm.
to verify every single thing that you say on your application is accurate. Whereas we operate under a commercial ag territory
Mhm.
for these types of loans, so they don't go through the conventional home loan style process, and so it's so much easier of a process. It's gray area. It's not black and white like that. So
Mhm.
yeah, I think people are kind of shocked by the end of it or halfway through it, and they're like, is this it? And so sometimes I had to tell people, okay, there's going to be about this 1 week, 2 week, 3 week limbo of time waiting for title commitment to come back and these other things. And so sometimes I try to check in with them just so people aren't like,
Yeah.
nothing's going on. So I try to stay in touch and communicate, that way
Mhm.
people know what to expect usually. But we can certainly do closings in 10 days. I've done one of those too, where it's
That's crazy.
Yeah,
That's
it's-
crazy.
well,
Depends
it-
on the dollar
it
amount.
depends.
Sure.
Yeah, so if you have a loan amount under 500,000, and if we feel comfortable that we can find comparables, we can do an in-house appraisal. It's just an internal evaluation that we do. It's nothing fancy. We find comparables that we feel comfortable support the value of that land,
Mhm.
and so we don't charge very much for it, just a little bit on the loan origination cost for our time.
Mhm.
Otherwise, it beats paying $1,000 appraisal sometimes.
They've been a lot more
Yep.
expensive than that recently.
1,200,
honestly.
1,800,
Yeah.
give or take.
Yeah.
It depends who you're getting and what area you're at.
Yeah.
And so they can get pretty pricey with appraisals. So if we feel comfortable with the area, we can certainly do things like that
Mhm.
too, which is a huge benefit for someone going through that process. So yeah, yeah.
We have done a few where all of a sudden we get a phone call, and I mean, I can think of 2 examples off the top of my head right now where, holy cow, Sean, my bank that I was going to use, my hometown lender, didn't realize there was so much rec ground,
Mm.
and they're not going to do the loan now.
Mhm.
And closing is in 15 days. And so I set the alarm off, and hey, what can we do? And this is what we need. And Megan has seriously done it.
Oh yeah, easily.
Yeah.
Rush.
It's not
Yeah.
hard. It's not hard
So-
for us to whip one of those out in like 2 days or 1 day if we had to, an internal evaluation.
Mhm.
And so that's the heavy lifting, is the appraisal, the time constraint. And
Yeah.
so when you take away that time constraint, for us to get our approval process done, I mean, we can do that in a day if we had to, if it was urgent enough. And as long as if there's a property on it, we do have to have or some kind of structure, I should say.
Mhm.
We do have to have a 10-day window to wait for that. It's like a flood zone time
Okay,
period is what it is,
certification. Yep.
certification. But otherwise, if there's no structures on it, then there's no time restraints in that scenario. And we can just, as long as the title company, as fast as the title company can move, is usually what I say is as fast as we can close.
Yeah.
So, and I'm pretty nice to title companies. So usually
You
they
probably worked with every one of them by now.
yeah, yep. So, and they've been great to work with. So usually if I ask them what date the seller and them are okay with, we can usually try to strive for an early date and make it happen.
That's a huge, for someone that's listening. I mean, you could be like, hey, it's not cash, but we can close this. I'm not projecting more quick work on your end,
No,
but something
you're
to
good.
the effect of like, hey, we can close whenever the title company is ready. It's under 500,000, and as long as that all shakes out, I mean, as a buyer, or if I'm representing someone and they're using you guys, I could say, hey, these folks can. If you want to close really fast, we'll touch base with them, but it shouldn't be an issue.
And Jake, that's why the pre-approval process is really
Paramount.
key. Really key, because I mean, we can get a real quick turnaround or feel for a deal. You know what I mean? And it gives a buyer an advantage. Be like, hey, I can close it in 15 days.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
there's not a lot of lenders out there that can say that.
Mhm.
I believe there's not a lot of lenders out there that's better than us in this area.
Mhm.
And we want to give, those people buying the ground a leg up.
Mhm. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean it's competitive market. We were just talking about
It is.
inventory and
It
everything
is.
else.
Yeah.
It's you got to have a good team in place to win.
Yeah.
We want to help your buyers be more competitive in getting the ground that they're getting.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
And that's where we come in.
Yep.
and in that scenario, they're saving a good chunk, a notable chunk of money by not having to pay for an appraisal, whether it's $1,500, $2,000. I mean, it all
Yeah,
adds
depending
up.
on the size of the
Yeah,
deal, we can
yeah,
do that.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
No,
Yeah.
that have you? I had to. This is something I wanted to ask you guys because there was the Fed meeting here not too long ago, and everyone's on X and everyone's on Facebook like this was gonna happen, this was gonna happen, and it was actually a friend of mine. He's like, I looked it up on Polymarket, it's not gonna happen, like 0% chance. And then I was like, that was really smart of my friend to mention that. I was like, it's genius. Usually Vegas wins all the time, but is that a fair way for a dummy like me to like, hey, what's going on here?
Well, they projected the president, didn't they?
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean,
that's the thing. They clearly have a lot more information. So what I'm getting at is like, obviously everyone's like, hey, when are rates going to drop? Everyone's talking about it's clear the president wants rates to drop. I'm not a economist, and I know no one can predict it either, but I go on Polymarket now to check.
Which I agree with you. But Jake, nobody knows.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody knows. We can sit here and guess which way it's going to go.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody knows. But with that said, I think that's why, like our 3-year product is a really appealing one because it's shorter. And if rates do come down, people can take advantage of, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The rates quicker,
Yeah.
in doing a refinance. But nobody.
Yeah.
And see, nobody. I'll just say nobody.
Yeah, I think Polymarket said October. There was a higher probability in that.
There's who knows?
Not financial advice here.
Right? Who knows? Right? But if they do it, then we'll probably be any more quarter.
That's
Right.
that's the money
so
line.
that's
Eventually.
Yeah.
That's the word, eventually. Yep.
Yeah.
It eventually.
And I will say this, I put my agent or broker hat on when I talk to customers, and and they're always, what's the rate? What's the rate?
Yep.
And I always tell them, if you find, just like you do, if you find that perfect property, it's got the pond that you want, or it butts up next to a river, or it's got a hard road into the property, or what have you. The well's already there, the electricity's already there, or something. And it's your perfect property. Yeah. Don't wait for that rate to come down because it's not going to be around for 10 more days.
It's true.
Yeah. There was I saw this on LinkedIn. I wish I could recall who posted it because it stuck with me, obviously. It was probably a year or two ago, but it had a breakdown of the state of Illinois and the amount of transactions per region or even per county. And basically the thesis of it is if you're like where we're at, you don't get to watch a lot of pitches. You got to swing at the one that comes by.
Yeah.
And it's different in different parts of the country and different regions and everything else. But it's like, hey, if you want 40 to 60 acres and it has these things, either that's your opportunity or you have to go somewhere else where there's more pitches to look at.
Right.
And so to your point, it's like, man, you kind of jump off. You got to jump and do it when the opportunity's there.
Right.
Yeah.
If everything is perfect, farm's perfect, rates are perfect, or now I've saved up enough cash to buy it, here's the deal. The bad news: you're probably never going to buy something. I mean, that's the reality
That's a
of it.
good
You're
point.
exactly right.
If everything's perfect, it's probably
Because
not.
once rates come down, people are going to be flooding the market.
Yeah.
And so it's going to get competitive. I mean, it's already competitive, but it's just going to be interesting. The dynamics, they change, they flip. So
It'll be interesting to see, I think, what land values do when rates come down.
I mean, my dummy assessment is they're going to go up. And
Yeah.
one of my reasons is the 1031 snowball that just starts to get crazy.
Yeah.
I mean,
I would agree.
That's true.
I mean, I think
Agreed.
generally it's an inverse relationship. Generally.
So
it will be interesting.
yeah. But
Again, there's no perfect example, right?
Yeah.
So
that's what excites me because no one knows, so you can never be wrong.
Just
kidding. No, I think that's really fair. Based off of your guys' experience over the years, especially Jamie being in banking for multiple decades, what's something that is like a mistake or that you see people make and it's it's coming from a good place when you explain this, but something of like, it could be a financial mistake, a strategy mistake, buying too much ground and like really testing their own limits on what they can potentially afford.
I think it's the stretch.
Mm-hmm.
Don't stretch yourself too thin, right? I mean, and don't use all your liquidity towards the purchase, right? Because life happens.
Yeah,
life happens. So
And
that would, I mean,
yeah, and I might add, I mean, if you're tapping yourself out to that 41%
Yeah.
debt to income ratio, are you needing another vehicle, like a second vehicle,
Yeah.
or are you going to be like, those are things you got to
Yeah.
think about, because you won't be able to hit over that threshold if you're really maxing yourself out too.
yeah.
So just things like that, and just having enough wiggle room or comfort to do it. And
Mhm.
and it may just mean that you might have to just cut back on the acres, in order to
Mhm.
make something happen,
Mhm.
and not to hold you back from making it happen,
Mhm.
because you can't just sit back and just keep waiting and savings, and the land keeps getting more and more expensive. It's good to act, but also do it within reason too.
I'm gonna brag on Megan here real
You
quick.
took the words out of my mouth. God,
Because I'm
I
not-
need the buzzer.
Okay, sorry. Go ahead. Maybe
No,
it's something different.
You go first.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I would
That's
say
funny.
even if we get an applicant where it doesn't look like we're going to be able to come together and do
Mhm.
something for them, I've never heard Megan say it's a hell no.
Mhm.
Right? Megan's so good.
Yeah.
She'll be like, you really need to work on this. Work on this for a while, and
What is it typically? Is it car payments, truck payments, credit card?
I mean,
payments?
I'm just speaking in
Yeah, for
generalities.
sure.
Save up a little more cash,
Okay.
or
Yeah.
lower
Yep.
your debt to income.
Yeah, like
or-
your debts. Like, you have too many debts out there.
Mhm.
Maybe you have like 4 or 5 vehicles. I mean, perhaps work on cutting back on a few of those debts, because you just have too many of them, and it's not cash flowing right. And so, or maybe just bring down I don't ever try to talk someone out of a farm. If they've got themselves set on a farm, I don't try to do that. I just say, hey, look, this is what you can do to make things better, to make that happen. And so sometimes they're quick fixes, and then sometimes it does take a little while, and they have to come back. Maybe it's a year later, and they'd have to work on that down payment.
we try to take a consultative approach.
Yeah.
Here's the game plan. Hey, this
Yeah,
is
exactly.
what we need to do.
And I'm going to brag now too. So just hang on. All right. So that is one thing that Megan goes up and above. I mean, it's unbelievable the time that she takes, and again, it's never a hard no. It's like, hey, what if we can do this? What if you're able to do this? And then 6 months, or like she said, maybe look at maybe not that 100 acres. Let's maybe try to take a look at a farm that's 60 acres, and that's going to change the whole outlook of this farm. So she's unbelievable, and taking the time and walking people through that. And that's, again, one thing that's, I think, sets us apart from other lenders.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I do try to share spreads with people in those scenarios too, because when they start asking questions, and we kind of go back and forth, and I try to give the explanation as well as possible, but sometimes it's easier with a visual. So sometimes I'll send them a quick snapshot of their spreads, and I give a little breakdown and say, hey, look, this is your income, your annual income. These are your annual your debt payments, and then this is how much you have left over. This is your discretionary income, and of course, it's already got your proposed loan baked in there, for your land, and this is how much it leaves you left over with, and this is where your debt to income is, and so this is where you want to be. So, like, I break all that down with them. It kind of helps them understand, okay, this is what I need to do to fix it. Or even just if it's a high credit card payments. I mean, a lot of people know just getting on Credit Karma and looking at what's your credit score, is your utilization rate just really high, and it's just making your score look to be in the 600s, but you've got good credit history, but that's just the biggest problem. And so that only takes like a month to correct. And so that bumps your score right back up. So taking care of that.
You're going to have every headhunter in the tri-state area calling you, right?
I know. Yep, I know.
Better not.
That's funny.
That's funny.
Is there any other, this friendly advice for people out there? Because you guys get to talk to so many different people, and it's kind of as an agent, it never feels like it's my place to say anything in that manner, honestly. And so it's like your guys' job is you have like a fiduciary on the lending side. I have a fiduciary of, hey, is this the right farm? Does this check off the boxes? Is there anything else that you think people should really know, aside from paying really close attention, figuring out, hey, what am I actually comfortable with? Are we going to have another kid? Do we need to buy a new car? Do I have a kid going to college? Are we going to pay for his college? Like,
Yeah.
other than thinking ahead of, that's got to be one of the biggest things.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I usually, when I'm talking to people, I can sometimes get a sense of hesitancy in some people's voice. And when that happens, I don't, I try to dig a little deeper and try to see, okay, so what's perhaps the hesitancy? And oftentimes it's the liquidity. It's like letting go of their hard-earned saved money, and they don't want to get rid of that
The
savings
safety
account.
blanket, yeah.
And so,
That's true.
but it's kind of talking them through that portion of it. Or sometimes people are pulling money out of a brokerage account, not a retirement account, but a brokerage account. And so, but giving themselves that buffer, that feeling, that nest egg that makes them feel comfortable, because a lot of times a good rule of thumb is whatever your debt payments are annually. So let's say you have $20,000, let's just give a higher number, $50,000 annual debt payments. That's a good nest egg, 1 year's payments. That would equal 1 year of liquidity. So it's a good rule of thumb. We like to see that, like at least
You guys like to see 1 year of
we
liquidity?
like to see 1 year of liquidity. Now we have some buffer there.
Sure.
We
Again,
aren't.
life happens, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
and we
Yeah.
understand people don't just have 50,000 sitting around in a savings account. So
Yeah.
we factor that in with the brokerage sometimes too. And as long as it's very liquid assets that are accessible, probably try to avoid retirement accounts, because those aren't as accessible then without being taxed or anything like that. So I mean, those are just some factors that we look at to see. We want to make sure that they're healthy, because we do not want a bad loan. And
Yeah,
so,
Right.
so I do make sure that it's a good loan, and I do not want to make a bad loan to somebody if it's not going to be a good one. And I'll tell them my reasons why if need be. And normally I don't ever have to deny anyone, but if it is, it's a soft denial and say, hey, look, it's not a no now. It's a potential yes in the future. So yeah.
I would say we've got a really full range of customers since we've been doing this for 5 years. I mean, we do have those beginning people where they're wanting to purchase their first 40, and then we just closed on, or Megan just closed on one in Kansas last week. It was a $9.5 million deal with a guy that's kind of in a little bit different, that has a lot of wherewithal to do that, right? We deal with a lot of people in between there and on both ends of this. So it's not a one size fits all type situation.
Yeah, you're dealing with
Yeah.
more early stage transactions and people buying ranches.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that's
How many acres was that deal in Kansas?
Oh, it's probably 1.5 thousand. Sorry.
yeah.
Forgot the thousand on there, but
You mean
yeah.
1,500.
1,500
1,500 acres.
Yes.
Yep.
So yeah, not a 40.
Not a 40.
Not a 40.
Yeah.
A couple
Yeah.
40s.
Yeah, a couple
Yeah.
40s.
Buckland Funding. If you don't know who they are and you're looking to buy a piece of ground, I encourage you to reach out to them. They're chartered in multiple states across the Midwest, and they understand recreational land. I've said it a million times here on the podcast. The most important piece of buying your first piece of ground is finding a partner, finding a bank that understands what you're trying to do, that has competitive rates and understands the world of recreational land, because not all banks are created equal, and Buckland Funding understands our crazy goals of scooping up a piece of ground to enjoy it with family, to hunt it, to use it as an investment. They understand that and work with that every single day. I encourage you to reach out to them. If you're in the process of buying your first or 20th farm, reach out to Buckland Funding at bucklandfunding.com. Back to the conversation.
Where do you guys see, taking the last 5 years, looking in the rearview mirror, and then I know no one can predict the future, but looking 5 years into the future, do you have any gut feelings or just general sentiment? I mean, we're in a ag heavy building here right now, and so there's a lot of discussions on commodity prices, input costs. We were talking about with your cattle farming. I mean, do you feel that there's any opportunities coming up? Is there anything that people need to pay close attention to? And this is just your opinion here, so you can take off the Buckland Funding logos if you need to. But I do want to get your opinions, because you guys are so in tune with what it is. You guys have seen the the moon rise a lot more, and the sunrise too. So
Yeah.
I just respect your perspective.
I guess I'll go first. The thing that I've learned, and again, I'm going to hit the nail on the head back, digress just a little bit, but it goes back to, if you find a farm that you're in love with, get it. If you can, and you're financially able to do that, and again, you're working with a banker that's going to help you through that, buy it, because you're always going to regret it if you don't. And for me, talking to people, oh, it just got sold. Oh, it sold because they didn't pull the trigger. And for a person to buy it, and then, they're so happy and so excited about it. And that's the thing that I probably try to pound home the most, is if you love it, you want it, get it. Otherwise, it's going to be gone. You're going to kick yourself.
And I would say, like, we're living in a very volatile time, so it's very hard to predict what's going to happen in the economy tomorrow, And so you can make a decision based on something today, but then it's like, oh, well, maybe that was the wrong decision now because of based on these factors. So things are going to keep changing the economy, and you can't control it, unfortunately. But the one thing that has been steady or true is land. I mean, land appreciates. It's an asset. It's an investment. People can buy this, and it will make them money over time. Sure, you're going to have some interest costs up, over the years, but you know what? It's something, if you hold on to it long enough, it's not going to matter one day. It's going to hold its value. It's going to keep going up. Sure, it's going to have its dips like it did in the 80s, with land. All those things will happen, but it's one of those assets that you can feel pretty confident with. It's better than property, because with property, you got buildings, and you've got maintenance costs and all this stuff, and it's just
You're gonna
crazy.
talk yourself out of running your mouth, right?
I am.
We're going to put our rentals up for sale.
You're gonna go buy some pasture.
Honestly, well, because your capital expenses that you had to put into your properties, those are unseen things that you don't pay for 10 years, like a roof and all these other things. And a lot of times, if you're not careful, all your hard-earned money that you keep earning from these year over year, and you're like, oh, I'm building a cash flow now, finally, and it's starting to roll into a bigger amount, and then it's like, oh, but I got to do this and I got to do that, and so the cost, everything has went up dramatically with inflation, and so cost of buildings are so high compared to what they were. And land is much more attractive now than it probably has been in the past, and perhaps is why a lot of people are really investing in it. And you're seeing this go. I mean, land prices have gone up drastically. Even I remember back when 2019, before 2020, and I was an analyst, and I was evaluating farm ground, and so I could tell you Class A soil, B, C here in Illinois, and what farm ground was going. I mean, in the 8,000s is what an acre was going probably for Class A soil, 9,000, and it was unheard of to hit 12,000. And now, you're hitting. It's what is it now for Class A soil?
There's
Probably
nothing big 20 plus.
20 plus, yeah, 20,000 plus. It's just crazy how fast that went in just a matter of so many years. And so, land is a very attractive commodity, and your viewers already know that. So it's. Yeah, I don't think the economy is going to disturb land too much. So, yeah.
With anything to add to that, Jamie?
There's always two statements that come to mind when buying. How many times have we heard somebody say, "Well, I don't know how they're going to pay for that," after they bought it, right?
Go walk right outside of an auction as soon as the people bought it.
How are they going to pay for that, right?
Jeez.
Jeez, how are they going to pay for that, right? Or, how many times have we heard, "Man, I should have bought that." It's one of the two things, right?
Yeah.
And I think it just hits home what you said earlier, Jake. If you're going to wait for the perfect scenario, you're never going to get anything bought, right? And land generally over the long haul has been a good investment. Yeah. And, life's short. If you enjoy doing it, if you enjoy hunting, if you enjoy taking your kids out there, spending time with your kids, that's what life's about.
Yeah, that's the constant. I think I just talked to a lot of different people, and it's like, well, I could get maybe like a 3% better return if I'm in this thing that I watch on a computer screen.
Yeah.
Or like to your point, like life is short, and if you
Yeah.
have that much enjoyment out of it, and it's not gonna impact your retirement age or how you retire or
Mhm.
anything like that, like obviously
Yeah.
I like land, so I'm the
Yeah.
wrong person to listen
Yeah.
to.
Yeah, that's
But
right.
just do it.
Right.
Yeah. Well, is there anything else that you guys can think of? I feel that we should probably run through kind of. You guys mentioned 3-year ARM or 5-year on 20 or 25-year schedule. What is typically the down payment that you guys typically like to see? And I feel like we talked about some of the other underwriting items.
Yeah, so normally we like to see 25% down on our loans. And then again, the 3-year fixed rate over 20 or 25-year amortization is
5.
typical.
Yeah.
Or
Yep.
yep. So
Again, in this world, we're seeing a shorter people locking it in for shorter.
Mhm.
yeah, yep. And which is good right now because I mean rates are coming down. And so you want to be able to, and I guess a big question I usually get is, well, what does that look like at the end of those 3 years? And
Mm.
so what it normally looks like is at the end of the 3 years, we just go through that process again. Just, hey, I just need your 2 most recent tax returns, a updated personal financial statement, and then I'll just do all the legwork. So they don't have to do anything. And then I just whip up renewal documents. And as long as everything looks good, which 99% of the time or more, it
Mhm.
typically is. I mean, the only time that we would ever probably reboot a loan is if you stop making your payments. So if you stop making your payments, I mean, we're not going to renew it, and you'd probably need to go find another loan elsewhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, we renew it, and then typically doesn't take long. We can DocuSign those as well too in most cases because our mortgages we just need to sign the first time, and so subsequently we can DocuSign everything after that. So it's a really simple process,
Yeah.
and then we can renew for another 3 years or another 5 years, depending what's better for rate and what you actually prefer. Because if rates do get down pretty low, then you'll want a longer term, that 5-year fixed rate, which is typical. And those are very standard terms for the commercial world, like that. So we don't usually go out past 5 years
Yeah.
fixed rate.
I
Normally.
think that is to your point earlier in the conversation. Most people are like, I just can get like a 30-year fixed rate.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Which, yeah. I have a question. Actually, since your question, how are interest rates formulated? Because so what I'm getting at is you have prime, and then so how do you guys come up with this is what we charge? And you got to do it like you're talking to a second grader too. So I understand.
It's fairly easy, right? I mean, banks bring in deposits, right?
Mhm.
Or they can bring in deposits or borrow money from Federal Home Loan Bank or the Federal Reserve, right? So, let's just say that rate's 4%, right? Well, you got to decide what, we've got expenses involved, right? Because us three aren't working for free.
Mhm.
It costs us a little something to keep the lights on, have some brick and mortar, right? Or
Mhm.
technology costs something, right? So you got to figure that all in, right? And then we got to figure some loan loss reserve in there, right? Et cetera, et cetera. And then put all that into a nice spreadsheet, right?
Mhm.
Then you decide what you can do.
Interesting.
I'm going to be honest with you. I never took that class.
We tried to explain it to him one day. He was like a deer in headlights. He's like,
I'm being honest.
we're like, do you understand this, Sean? And he goes, no, I don't.
I mean, I would say it costs us just as much to do $3 million deal as it does $200,000, right? But I mean, we do them all.
Yeah. So that's where okay, so I followed you. I did follow you. Yeah. I'm not. I don't want to get deeper in the wormworhole because I don't think most people will really care. Yeah. Well, something I really like on your guys' marketing materials is why lease when you can own. And I think there's a lot of people that struggle with that, right? Like, oh man, I can pay $35 for whatever, depending on where you're at in the country. I can just lease it and I can keep that nice little cash savings.
True.
And that's a great option. But then you look at it and you look back, man, we've been leasing this for 10 years and it's $6,000 a year. And that's $60,000 that we paid the landowner. Grateful to have the opportunity. But I really wish I probably would have bought something.
Or what if you lose it?
Well, that's inevitably what happens. Either it gets sold
What
or
I
you
was
lose
just
it.
going to say.
Nothing lasts forever.
Yeah.
And you've talked to people, so many people. We've talked to so many people. I've talked to so many people. Is, oh yeah, I'm looking now because my lease just got sold.
Yep.
And yes, and obviously that that's not a good situation.
Mhm.
So, yeah, put that money, into owning it.
Mhm.
Build that equity.
Yes.
And I've talked about it a million times on the podcast. People are probably sick about it, but there is something really special about on your own ground.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Getting to do exactly
Yeah.
what you want. With the lease, you're kind of got kids' gloves on. You still probably need to text, hey, we're going to be out there this weekend.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, this is nice to do whatever
is.
the heck I want to do, you know? Yeah. Which is worth a
Absolutely.
lot.
Yep.
Was there anything else I should have asked you guys that I didn't? I appreciate you guys taking the time to come up here. I really do appreciate
No,
it.
it's been great. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us,
Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah. Richard, do you have any questions? Richard's working on his first farm, so if you have any questions, we'll plug them in here right now.
Use me as a hypothetical.
That's up to you.
Come on down.
We need to know your income, social security number.
How much Jake paying you?
Yeah.
I work for the government. I got to set salaries. Not make
Yeah.
It's probably best we chat about detailed information offline.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I mean, do you? I think that might be an interesting point, though. Everyone you guys deal with probably has massive incomes, right?
A large portion.
Okay,
yes.
dang it. So you're gonna say no? Yeah.
A large portion do have good
Sure.
incomes.
Yeah.
I guess it depends on your definition.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's funny because I my mindset it changes so much because I'm thinking in big terms like a lot of times, and I'm like, oh, this is really good, and so now I have to really go, this is excellent, this is great, this is good.
Yeah.
Because all these guys that you're working with have really good financials, and don't let that anyone that doesn't feel like they have really good financials, don't let that scare you away. I mean,
Right.
we can help anyone that comes through. It doesn't
Oh,
matter
yeah.
the size of farm. We can help
Every
anyone.
situation's
Yeah,
different.
Yeah.
exactly. And in every situation, like everyone is good in their own scenario. So like some of these big guys, I mean, they still might not qualify because their debt payments are so excessive. And so everyone is in their own relative terms can be very good. It depends on their debts to like their income to debt is
It's
what
how
it
much
mostly
you keep,
basically depends.
basically, at the end of the
Exactly.
day.
What you spend at
Yep.
the end of the day, right?
Yep.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
Exactly.
Well, no, once again, I really appreciate it. And I've stressed this a million times of how important it is to have a good bank, someone that's on your team that's going to help coach you up, encourage you, discourage you potentially if
Yeah.
it needs to be heard
Yeah.
that way.
Yeah.
And I just appreciate everything that you guys do. If people want to get a hold of you guys, what is the best way to do it? You're more than likely going to talk to Sean first.
You're going to hopefully talk to me first. And again, so painless, simple, and easy. We just have a real good conversation. If we start talking hunting, I mean, it could run into an hour, like you and I have talked, Jake. You know, we get off a little bit, and it's like, oh, hey, just a sec, I called you for one little thing. But my cell phone number is 610-909-9073, and it's a Pennsylvania number, but don't worry about it. And I know people see that sometimes, and they're like, oh, somebody from Pennsylvania is calling me. Well, no, born and raised in Iowa. I still live in the Quad Cities in Davenport, Iowa. So I'm, homegrown here in the Midwest. So don't let that throw you off. But give me a call, Sean.Ryan@bucklandfunding.com. Also, easy way to get a hold of me.
Excellent. And then really, I guess, once you talk to Sean, you get down the chain here.
Yep.
Have talked to Megan throughout the pre-approval process. And no, I really appreciate your guys' time. And I encourage everyone listening that's been thinking about it, or maybe they're in a position where, hey, we have some cash, and if something does pop up, I want to be ready. I mean, it starts with an easy phone call with Sean.
Easy phone call. And again, I hand off that information that we talk about to Megan, and Megan sends out the application. And once that application and the financials are returned, she calls them that day or the very next business day with the pre-approval.
Yep.
So
Pretty easy.
easy.
Perfect. Well,
Very
thank you so
easy.
much, guys.
Thank you.
There you guys have it. I hope you enjoyed the conversation. If you made it this far, I certainly appreciate it. And I want to say thank you to Moultrie, Hawk Optics, Onyx, Painted Arrow, and ASM Labs, the tax soil guys, and obviously Buckland Funding for supporting the show, and for you guys making it this far. It means a ton. Next week I'm going to give you a little teaser. We have an economist coming on the podcast, and we talk about some pretty heavy things. We talk about what the economy is like right now, some opportunities in the marketplace, and don't be intimidated that it's an economist. He spoke to a way where everyone can understand something out of it and take some tangible information and just pay a little more attention, because right now I think that there's a lot of different things, different factors going on in the world, and we brought in a economist that is a keynote speaker and looks at these data sets every single day. So that's next week. Hope to see you then. See ya.